In the journey of life, we all encounter moments when negativity seems to settle into our minds, often without warning. It could take the form of doubt, fear, or harsh self-criticism, filling our thoughts with a sense of helplessness. These moments can feel overwhelming, as though the weight of our worries will never lift. We may find ourselves trapped in a cycle of negativity, where the more we dwell on these thoughts, the more powerful they become. The good news, however, is that you don't have to be at the mercy of your thoughts. You have the ability to break free from this cycle and transform your mind from a source of doubt to one of strength, clarity, and peace. What if you could change the way you relate to your negative thoughts? What if, instead of being consumed by them, you could use them as a tool for growth and transformation? What if, even amidst life's challenges, you could find peace within yourself? The truth is, your life is a reflection of your thoughts. The way you think, the stories you tell yourself, and the beliefs you hold shape the reality you experience. If you change your thinking, you can indeed change your life. This concept is a fundamental teaching in Buddhism. The Buddha once said, "We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world." This simple yet profound insight reminds us that the mind has immense power. Our thoughts are not just fleeting, random occurrences. They have the potential to create our experience of the world, whether that experience is one of peace, joy, and fulfillment, or one of stress, fear, and frustration. In Buddhist philosophy, the practice of mindfulness teaches us to become aware of our thoughts without judgment. Rather than reacting impulsively to negative thoughts, mindfulness encourages us to pause and observe them. This creates space between our thoughts and our actions, allowing us to respond with intention rather than being carried away by the current of our emotions. This is the beginning of breaking the cycle of negativity. Awareness. When we are able to see our thoughts for what they are, just thoughts, we are no longer defined by them. Instead of identifying with our fears, doubts, or insecurities, we can recognize that these thoughts are temporary and do not define our worth or future. This shift in perspective allows us to approach life with greater clarity, allowing us to respond with wisdom and compassion rather than reacting out of fear or anger. One of the most important lessons in Buddhism is that we have the power to reframe our mindset. In every situation, we have the choice to focus on what is working, on the opportunities, and on the possibilities. This is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending that life is always easy, but rather about seeing beyond the immediate challenges and focusing on the bigger picture. In Buddhism, this is known as the practice of right thought, or cultivating thoughts that align with our true values and aspirations. By learning to shift our perspective, we can change the way we experience life. We can begin to view our challenges as opportunities for growth, and our failures as lessons that lead us toward wisdom. Each negative thought, when recognized and reframed, becomes an opportunity to develop a more positive and resilient mindset. In this video, we will explore 7 powerful Buddhist lessons that can help you defeat negativity, reframe your mindset, and embrace a life of positivity. These lessons are not just theoretical, they are practical tools that can be applied in everyday life. With patience and practice, you can transform your thoughts and your life. Together, let's begin this journey of self-discovery and growth, taking the first step toward a more peaceful and empowered life. By embracing these teachings, we can learn to navigate the storms of life with grace and wisdom, finding peace even in the midst of chaos. Let's take this first step together and see how these ancient Buddhist practices can help us cultivate a positive, peaceful, and fulfilling life. 1. Acknowledge your negative thoughts. The first step in overcoming negativity is to recognize and acknowledge your thoughts for what they truly are, just thoughts. This may sound deceptively simple, yet it holds the key to breaking free from the cycles of doubt, fear, and self-criticism that can so easily dominate our minds. We all experience moments when negative thoughts arise, sometimes without any clear cause, other times triggered by external events. These thoughts may be familiar, thoughts of worry, anxiety, or self-judgment, and they often feel so real and overpowering that we begin to identify with them. We mistake them for truths rather than passing mental events. However, it's important to remember that thoughts, no matter how persistent, are not permanent, nor do they define who we are. In fact, the act of identifying with negative thoughts is often what gives them power. When we believe these thoughts are who we are or what is true, we allow them to shape our reality, often with unwanted consequences. We may feel overwhelmed, powerless, or stuck. But what if we could take a step back, observe our thoughts without judgment, and recognize them for what they are? What if, instead of pushing these thoughts away or letting them spiral out of control, we could meet them with mindfulness and compassion? This is where the wisdom of Buddhism can be incredibly helpful. In Buddhist teachings, mindfulness is a central practice. Mindfulness encourages us to become aware of our thoughts, emotions, and experiences in the present moment, without judgment or resistance. Instead of reacting automatically to negative thoughts, mindfulness teaches us to pause, observe, and acknowledge them with clarity. The act of observing allows us to create space between ourselves and our thoughts, creating a sense of detachment that empowers us to respond to them skillfully rather than becoming consumed by them. One of the key insights that Buddhism offers is the idea that thoughts are like clouds in the sky, ever-changing and transient. Just as clouds float across the sky, taking different shapes and forms, so too do our thoughts arise, linger for a time, and then pass away. If we could cultivate the perspective that our thoughts are not permanent, we would no longer feel trapped by them. Instead of feeling weighed down by a negative thought, we could simply notice it, acknowledge it, and then let it move on. By recognizing that thoughts are temporary, we allow ourselves to remain rooted in the present moment, free from the tyranny of mental patterns. When a negative thought arises, whether it's worry, fear, doubt, or anger, it can often feel all-encompassing. It's easy to believe that the thought is who we are, or that it is an indication of something inherently wrong with us. For example, if a thought arises such as, "I'm not good enough," we may immediately feel a sense of shame or inadequacy. We might spiral into self-criticism or doubt, allowing the thought to dominate our entire state of mind. But Buddhism encourages us to pause in these moments and practice awareness. By simply taking a moment to recognize the thought, we gain the ability to detach from it. The practice of naming the thought is one way to create this distance. When a negative thought arises, take a moment to pause and name it. You might say to yourself, "This is worry," or "This is fear," or "This is doubt." By labeling the thought in this way, you are creating a small but powerful shift in perspective. You are no longer identifying with the thought. You are acknowledging it as something that is separate from who you truly are. Just like a cloud in the sky, the thought is simply passing through your mind, and you have the choice to observe it without letting it consume you. This practice of acknowledging thoughts as temporary mental events allows us to respond with greater calmness and clarity. It's similar to stepping back and watching a storm pass, knowing that it will eventually subside. If we don't intervene with judgment or resistance, the storm of negative thinking will naturally move on. The key is in not fighting the thought or becoming overwhelmed by it. Instead, we acknowledge it, observe it, and allow it to pass. This brings us to one of the most powerful practices in Buddhism, the idea of non-resistance. Non-resistance doesn't mean passive acceptance or indifference. It means that we don't need to force or fight our thoughts. When we resist something, whether it's a negative thought or a difficult situation, we often end up giving it more power. Resistance fuels frustration and anxiety. But when we practice non-resistance, we create space for a peaceful acceptance. We recognize that just like clouds in the sky, thoughts are not permanent. They will shift and change in time. In addition to recognizing thoughts as passing phenomena, Buddhism also teaches us to meet our thoughts with compassion. Often, when negative thoughts arise, we react with judgment or frustration. We may think, "I shouldn't be feeling this way," or "I should be more positive." However, this kind of self-criticism only deepens the negativity. Instead of pushing away the thought, Buddhism encourages us to respond with kindness and compassion, both toward the thought itself and toward ourselves. When a negative thought arises, instead of criticizing yourself for having it, try to meet it with a gentle acknowledgement. "I see you, but you do not define me." By speaking to yourself in this way, you are creating a sense of emotional distance. You are recognizing that the thought is not an accurate reflection of your true self. Just as clouds pass through the sky without changing the nature of the sky itself, negative thoughts come and go without altering your essence. We begin to see our interactions as chances for personal growth, helping us move away from judgment and toward compassion. Ultimately, reframing is about empowering ourselves to choose how we respond to the challenges we face. Life will always present obstacles, but it's our perspective on those obstacles that determines whether they will weigh us down or help us grow. By practicing reframing, we learn to face life with a sense of curiosity and openness, knowing that every experience, no matter how difficult, holds the potential for greater wisdom, strength, and peace. So, the next time you encounter a negative thought or situation, ask yourself, is there another way to look at this? Embrace the opportunity to reframe your perspective, and you'll find that challenges become stepping stones and obstacles become opportunities for growth. With this shift in mindset, you create a more resilient, empowered, and positive life. 3. Use affirmations and positive self-talk. Our inner dialogue, the ongoing stream of thoughts and self-talk that runs through our minds, plays an incredibly powerful role in shaping how we feel and act. It is the lens through which we interpret the world and ourselves, and it directly influences our emotions, our behaviors, and our overall experience of life. Often, this inner dialogue is filled with negative self-talk, messages of doubt, fear, and criticism that can keep us stuck in patterns of insecurity and self-sabotage. Phrases like, "I'm not good enough," "I always mess things up," or "I can't do anything right" become a constant refrain, reinforcing feelings of inadequacy and discouragement. Over time, these negative thoughts can trap us in a cycle of self-doubt, preventing us from taking action, pursuing our goals, or fully embracing our potential. However, there is a powerful antidote to this negative self-talk: the practice of affirmations and positive self-talk. In Buddhism, mental well-being is deeply connected to the cultivation of wholesome thoughts. The Buddha taught that our minds are like fertile soil. What we plant there will grow. If we sow seeds of negativity, self-criticism, and fear, those thoughts will take root and shape our reality. But if we cultivate thoughts of kindness, compassion, and self-belief, we can transform our minds and, by extension, our lives. Affirmations are one of the simplest yet most effective ways to begin this transformation. The first step in breaking free from negative self-talk is to become aware of the messages you are telling yourself. Take a moment to observe the thoughts that frequently arise in your mind. Are they uplifting, or do they tend to be critical and self-deprecating? It's important to recognize that these thoughts, no matter how persistent or deeply ingrained they may feel, are just that, thoughts. They do not define you, and they do not have the power to dictate your worth or your potential. Once you've identified the negative patterns in your thinking, the next step is to consciously replace them with more positive, empowering affirmations. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," you can replace that thought with, "I am capable and deserving of success." Instead of "I always fail," try affirming, "I am learning and growing every day." If you catch yourself thinking, "I can't handle this," shift it to, "I can handle whatever comes my way with strength and grace." The key here is not to simply repeat these affirmations mechanically, but to speak to yourself with the same kindness, compassion, and encouragement that you would offer to a close friend. Imagine a friend who is struggling with self-doubt. What would you say to them? You would offer words of support, understanding, and reassurance, gently reminding them of their strengths and their ability to overcome challenges. Why not offer yourself the same compassion? Treat your inner dialogue as if it were a conversation with someone you care about deeply, because in a very real sense, it is. You are the one person who will always be with you, and your words to yourself matter profoundly. At first, affirmations may feel unnatural, especially if you've been accustomed to a pattern of negative thinking for a long time. It might feel uncomfortable or even insincere to say, "I am capable," when you've been telling yourself, "I'm not good enough" for so long. But this discomfort is a sign that you are challenging the old, limiting beliefs and planting new, more empowering ones. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a strong tree, your affirmations will take time to take root in your mind. Be patient with yourself and commit to the process. Over time, positive self-talk rewires your brain. Neuroscience shows that the brain is highly malleable, a concept known as neuroplasticity. When you repeat positive affirmations daily, you are creating new neural pathways that reinforce optimism, self-belief, and resilience. Your mind gradually begins to default to a more positive, constructive way of thinking. Instead of automatically assuming the worst or doubting your abilities, you will start to respond to challenges with confidence and a sense of possibility. The power of affirmations lies not just in the words themselves, but in the energy and intention behind them. When you repeat an affirmation, try to connect with the feeling that it evokes. For example, when you say, "I am capable," try to really feel the truth of those words in your body. Notice how your posture changes, how your energy shifts, and how your sense of self-worth begins to rise. Affirmations are not magic spells, but rather tools that help you align your thoughts with your deepest truths and desires. One of the most profound teachings of Buddhism is the idea that our minds are shaped by our habitual thoughts. If we habitually think negatively about ourselves, we are conditioning our minds to experience more negativity. But if we choose to cultivate positive, loving, and empowering thoughts, we are creating a new habitual pattern that will support our growth and well-being. This practice of replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations is not a one-time fix, but a lifelong journey. The more consistently you practice, the more natural it will become, and the more deeply ingrained your positive self-beliefs will be. You can also make your affirmations more specific to your unique circumstances and goals. For example, if you're facing a difficult project at work or in your personal life, affirmations like, "I am capable of overcoming any challenge," or "Every step I take brings me closer to success," can help you stay focused and motivated. In moments of doubt, return to your affirmations and let them serve as a gentle reminder of your strengths and your ability to navigate whatever challenges arise. As you continue to practice affirmations and positive self-talk, you may begin to notice subtle shifts in your mood, your behavior, and your sense of self-worth. Negative thought patterns that once seemed so powerful and controlling may begin to lose their grip on you. You will find that you approach challenges with greater calm, clarity, and confidence. You may also notice an increased sense of self-compassion as you learn to treat yourself with the same kindness and care that you would offer to others. In conclusion, affirmations and positive self-talk are powerful tools for transforming your mindset and cultivating a greater sense of well-being. By consciously choosing to replace negative thoughts with affirmations of self-belief, you can rewire your brain and shift your perspective toward a more positive, empowered outlook. Though it may take time, patience, and practice, the rewards are profound. Greater confidence, resilience, and a deep sense of inner peace. Remember, the way you speak to yourself matters. Choose your words wisely and watch as they transform your life. 4. Surround yourself with positivity. The environment you immerse yourself in has a profound influence on your thoughts, emotions, and overall well-being. From the people you interact with to the content you consume, everything around you shapes your mindset and energy. In Buddhism, the concept of Sangha, the community of like-minded individuals, is seen as essential for personal growth and mindfulness. The Buddha emphasized the importance of surrounding yourself with people who support your journey, offering encouragement and wisdom as you navigate the path toward greater awareness and enlightenment. Similarly, in our modern lives, the environment we cultivate, whether it's the people in our lives or the digital and physical spaces we inhabit, has a deep impact on our mental and emotional state. When it comes to relationships, the people around you can either uplift your spirit or drain your energy. We've all encountered individuals whose negativity seems to seep into our lives, whether it's through constant complaints, criticism, or pessimism. If you're constantly engaging with toxic relationships, negative news, or self-critical thoughts, it becomes much harder to maintain a positive outlook on life. Negative energy is contagious, and over time, it can weigh heavily on your mindset. That's why it's important to evaluate the environment in which you spend most of your time. Take a step back and ask yourself, are the people in your life supportive, encouraging, and inspiring, or do they bring you down with their negativity? It's crucial to surround yourself with individuals who motivate you to grow and challenge you in positive ways. Seek out friends, mentors, and role models who reflect the qualities you wish to embody. These could be people you know personally, or even public figures whose words and actions resonate with your values. This practice of acknowledging and responding to negative thoughts with compassion helps break the cycle of negative self-talk. So often, we find ourselves caught in a loop of negative thinking, where one thought leads to another, and before we know it, we are consumed by self-doubt, anxiety, or fear. By practicing mindfulness and compassion, we create a space in which we can interrupt this cycle and respond from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. This allows us to break free from the trap of negative thinking and regain control of our emotional state. Another powerful practice in Buddhism is the idea of detachment. This doesn't mean detaching from our emotions or experiences, but rather detaching from the belief that we are our thoughts. In the same way that we don't need to identify with the clouds in the sky, we don't need to identify with every thought that arises. Thoughts are simply mental events, passing through the mind like wind through trees. We are not our thoughts, and by acknowledging them as separate from our true selves, we can maintain a sense of peace and equanimity. This detachment is not about suppression. It's about allowing the thoughts to exist without giving them the power to control us. It's about accepting the full range of human experience, including negative thoughts, without becoming entangled in them. This practice allows us to cultivate a sense of inner peace, regardless of the thoughts that come and go. In essence, recognizing your thoughts for what they are, a momentary passing occurrence, helps you regain control over your mind. By practicing mindfulness, naming your thoughts, responding with compassion, and cultivating detachment, you break the cycle of negativity and gain a deeper sense of clarity and peace. Instead of being ruled by your thoughts, you become the observer of them. You create space between yourself and your thoughts, allowing you to respond from a place of awareness rather than fear or impulsivity. By acknowledging your thoughts with kindness and compassion, you begin to transform your relationship with your inner dialogue. You start to see that you are not defined by the thoughts that arise in your mind. In doing so, you take the first step toward greater emotional freedom and a more peaceful, empowered life. This practice may take time and it requires patience, but with consistent effort, you will find that you no longer feel overwhelmed by your thoughts. You will develop a calm, centered approach to life, grounded in the understanding that thoughts are just passing clouds, temporary, impermanent, and ultimately powerless in defining who you truly are. 2. Reframe your perspective. Perspective is one of the most powerful forces in shaping how we experience life. It is the lens through which we view our circumstances, and how we choose to interpret events can deeply affect our emotional and mental well-being. A single situation, depending on how we perceive it, can either feel like an insurmountable obstacle or a valuable opportunity for growth. The difference lies not in the situation itself, but in the perspective we bring to it. In Buddhism, the concept of reframing is a central practice, a method of shifting our focus from the external difficulties we encounter to the internal opportunities for growth they present. It's not about denying or ignoring challenges, but about changing how we relate to them. Through reframing, we train ourselves to see beyond the immediate hardship and discover the lessons or silver linings that might be hidden within it. The shift from seeing obstacles to viewing them as opportunities can transform our entire experience of life, turning what once felt like a burden into a tool for personal transformation. For instance, think about a difficult task or a challenging situation. How often do we say, "This is too hard, I can't do it"? That thought is a natural reaction. When faced with something demanding, it's easy to focus on the struggle, the discomfort, and the perceived impossibility of the situation. But reframing asks us to take a step back and reconsider that same situation from a different angle. Instead of viewing it as an insurmountable obstacle, we might try telling ourselves, "This is challenging, but it's an opportunity for me to grow stronger." Suddenly, the same task, which once seemed like a mountain too high to climb, becomes a doorway to growth, resilience, and learning. This subtle shift in perspective changes the way we approach life's challenges. Instead of shrinking away from difficulty, we can begin to embrace it with curiosity and a willingness to learn. Reframing is not about pretending that the challenge doesn't exist or that it isn't hard. It's about consciously choosing to view the situation with a mindset that encourages growth and possibility. By seeing obstacles as opportunities, we create a space in which we can thrive, even when the path ahead feels uncertain or difficult. Buddhism teaches that every experience, no matter how difficult, holds the potential for personal growth. Whether it's a setback in your career, a strained relationship, or a personal failure. These moments are all opportunities to deepen your wisdom, develop resilience, and learn more about yourself. The Buddha spoke about the inevitability of suffering, or dukkha, in life. But he also pointed out that it is through our response to suffering that we have the potential to awaken and transcend our limitations. This idea of reframing suffering, seeing it as a vehicle for growth, lies at the heart of Buddhist teachings. When a negative thought or emotion arises, it's easy to get caught in the cycle of self-doubt or frustration. We often find ourselves asking, "Why is this happening to me?" or "What's wrong with me?" These questions reinforce the belief that the problem is something external to us, something we are helpless to control. But reframing challenges us to ask a more empowering question: is there another way to look at this? In the face of adversity, we can ask ourselves what lesson this experience might be offering us. Perhaps it's teaching us patience, humility, or perseverance. Maybe it's showing us where we need to grow, or revealing patterns in our thoughts or behaviors that no longer serve us. By actively engaging in this process of reframing, we take control of our perspective. We stop seeing ourselves as victims of circumstance and begin to view ourselves as active participants in our own growth. This shift can be subtle but incredibly powerful. It allows us to transform challenges into stepping stones for personal development, creating a more positive, resilient, and adaptable mindset. When we start reframing our experiences, we also develop a more balanced understanding of our emotions. Negative emotions like frustration, fear, and disappointment are natural reactions to life's challenges. But instead of allowing these emotions to take over, we can observe them and ask, "What is this feeling trying to teach me?" When we view our emotions through the lens of reframing, they no longer feel like barriers to happiness or success. Instead, they become valuable teachers, guiding us toward deeper insight and greater self-awareness. It's important to note that reframing doesn't mean ignoring the reality of difficulties or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about finding a new way of engaging with the situation, choosing to see it not as an insurmountable obstacle, but as an opportunity to practice patience, courage, and perseverance. For example, in the face of failure, instead of thinking, "I've failed and I'll never succeed," we can reframe the situation by saying, "This is a learning experience, and I can use this to improve." In this way, we open ourselves up to possibility and progress, rather than staying stuck in self-judgment or defeat. By consistently practicing this shift in perspective, we begin to rewire our minds. Instead of defaulting to a negative or defeatist outlook when challenges arise, we learn to view them as opportunities for growth. Over time, this practice helps us develop greater emotional resilience. We become less easily overwhelmed by difficulties and more confident in our ability to navigate them. Reframing transforms us from passive observers of our lives into active participants who are fully engaged with the process of self-improvement. This is the essence of developing a positive mindset, not through forceful positivity or denial of challenges, but by learning to see each situation as an opportunity to evolve. It's about embracing life's complexities and finding wisdom in both the highs and the lows. Just as the Buddha taught that all things are impermanent, we come to understand that our challenges are also temporary. They are part of the flow of life, here to teach us something valuable. And when we adopt a mindset of reframing, we are better equipped to handle whatever comes our way. One practical way to cultivate this mindset of reframing is through mindfulness meditation. In meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts without judgment, creating the space needed to change how we relate to them. When negative thoughts arise during meditation, instead of pushing them away or getting lost in them, we simply observe them and let them pass. Over time, this practice helps us develop the skill of observing our thoughts and emotions in daily life. We become less reactive and more capable of choosing a healthier, more constructive response. Reframing can also be applied to external situations, how we view other people, our work, and the world around us. For instance, if we encounter someone who seems difficult or challenging to communicate with, instead of thinking, "This person is frustrating and I can't deal with them," we can reframe the situation by thinking, "This is an opportunity for me to practice patience and understanding." Being part of a supportive, uplifting community is a key aspect of cultivating a positive mindset, and this principle is echoed in Buddhist teachings on Sangha. The presence of a supportive community can provide strength and guidance as you work through challenges and strive for personal growth. But the influence of your environment extends beyond the people you spend time with. It also includes the content you consume, whether it's the movies you watch, the books you read, the music you listen to, or the social media you engage with. In today's digital age, we are constantly bombarded with information, much of which can be negative or anxiety-inducing. The news cycle often focuses on distressing stories, and social media can sometimes amplify feelings of comparison or inadequacy. If you spend too much time consuming negative or toxic content, it can leave you feeling drained, overwhelmed, and disconnected from your own sense of peace. Just as a healthy diet nourishes the body, the content you consume nourishes the mind. To create a more positive environment, it's important to be intentional about what you allow into your mind. Curate your media consumption in a way that aligns with the person you want to become. Choose uplifting, motivational, or inspiring content that supports your growth. Instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media or binge-watching negative news, seek out resources that encourage mindfulness, personal development, and well-being. Read books that challenge your thinking and expand your perspective. Listen to music that uplifts your spirit and energizes your soul. If you find that certain accounts or sources of content are consistently leaving you feeling negative or drained, it may be time to unfollow or limit your exposure to them. Fill your digital space with content that aligns with your values and enhances your mental and emotional state. Your physical environment also plays a crucial role in shaping your mindset. The spaces we inhabit, whether they're at home, at work, or elsewhere, can have a significant impact on our mood and energy levels. A cluttered, disorganized space can lead to feelings of stress or overwhelm, while a clean and organized space can help promote clarity and calm. Small changes to your environment can make a big difference in how you feel. For example, consider displaying quotes or affirmations that inspire you or bring you a sense of peace. These visual reminders can help reinforce a positive mindset and keep you focused on your goals. Spending time in nature is another powerful way to nurture your mind and spirit. Nature has an innate ability to calm and center us. The sights, sounds, and smells of the natural world, whether it's the rustling of leaves, the sound of birds singing, or the fresh air, help to ground us in the present moment. Nature has a calming effect on the mind and is a natural antidote to stress and anxiety. Whenever possible, take time to step outside, whether it's for a walk in the park, a hike in the woods, or simply sitting under a tree and breathing deeply. Connecting with nature can help restore balance and bring a sense of peace to your life. Even small, seemingly insignificant changes to your environment can have a powerful impact. For instance, placing fresh flowers on your desk, creating a small gratitude corner in your home, or adding plants to your living space can help shift the energy around you. These small gestures can serve as reminders of beauty, gratitude, and positivity. Just as a seed grows best in fertile soil, your mind thrives in an environment that nourishes it with positive energy and intentions. By making conscious choices about the people, content, and physical spaces you engage with, you are actively cultivating an environment that supports your well-being and growth. Remember, you are deeply influenced by what you surround yourself with. If you want to cultivate a more positive, empowered life, it's important to choose environments that support that vision. This includes being mindful of the people you spend time with, the content you consume, and the physical spaces you inhabit. When you consciously design your environment to nourish your body, mind, and spirit, you lay the foundation for a more joyful, peaceful, and empowered existence. By surrounding yourself with positivity, you invite more of it into your life, creating a harmonious cycle of growth and well-being. 5. Take action to break the cycle. Negative thoughts often thrive when we feel stuck, passive, or overwhelmed. They can easily create a feedback loop where the more we dwell on them, the more trapped we feel in their grip. This cycle of negativity can become so consuming that it feels impossible to escape. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the only way out is for the thoughts to somehow disappear on their own, but the reality is that action is the key to breaking free. In Buddhism, the concept of right effort emphasizes the importance of purposeful, mindful actions to cultivate positive mental states and overcome unwholesome ones. It reminds us that while negative thoughts may come and go, we possess the power to influence how we respond to them through deliberate action. In other words, we don't have to passively accept negativity as our reality. We can actively change it. When negative thoughts begin to dominate your mind, the first step is to disrupt the pattern. This doesn't necessarily mean you need to take drastic or life-altering steps. It can be as simple as making small shifts in your environment or your routine. A change in scenery, however small, can have a profound effect on your mental state. If you're feeling overwhelmed by negative thoughts, try going for a walk, stretching, or stepping outside for a few minutes to breathe in fresh air. Physical movement shifts your energy and gives your mind something else to focus on besides the spiral of negativity. It's like pressing the reset button for your mind. When you move, whether it's a brisk walk or just a stretch, you release built-up tension in your body, which in turn helps to release tension in your thoughts. The change of pace, combined with the act of moving your body, breaks the chain of rumination that feeds into negative thinking. Another effective way to interrupt the cycle is by engaging in an activity that brings you back into the present moment. When we're overwhelmed with negative thoughts, it's often because our minds are focused on past regrets or future worries. To counteract this, we can ground ourselves by doing something simple and tangible that requires our attention right now. This might mean tidying up a room, preparing a meal, or even tending to a garden. These activities might seem small, but they have a powerful grounding effect. Not only do they keep your hands busy, but they also create a sense of accomplishment. You can take pride in completing a simple task, and in doing so, you remind yourself that you are capable of creating positive outcomes, even if they are small ones. These tasks provide structure and control, which helps to reduce the sense of helplessness that often accompanies negative thinking. The rhythm of action, whether it's folding laundry, washing dishes, or planting a seed, offers a counterbalance to the chaos of your inner world. It's also important to recognize that even the smallest action can have a significant impact on your state of mind. A cluttered space often mirrors a cluttered mind, and the act of organizing your surroundings can provide an immediate positive shift. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by the mess around you, you know that cleaning or organizing can help clear your mind just as much as it clears your space. When we put things in order, whether it's clearing a desk, making a bed, or decluttering a room, we not only make our environment more pleasant, but we also create a sense of order in our thoughts. The very act of organizing can restore a feeling of control, which can be deeply empowering when negative thoughts seem to spiral out of control. In addition to physical activity and organizing your environment, another effective way to break the cycle of negativity is by connecting with others. Negative thoughts can often thrive in isolation, where there is no one to offer a different perspective or provide encouragement. Isolation can amplify feelings of helplessness and despair, whereas human connection provides a source of support, compassion, and perspective. If you're feeling trapped in a cycle of negativity, reach out to someone you trust, a friend, family member, or mentor. Sometimes, just talking things through with someone else can offer a fresh outlook and help you see the situation in a different light. Joining a supportive community, whether in person or online, can also provide you with the encouragement and inspiration needed to break free from negative thought patterns. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, offer wisdom, and share positive energy can be a game changer when you're feeling stuck. When you engage with others in a meaningful way, you reconnect to a sense of shared humanity, and the energy of connection can shift your own mental and emotional state. Finally, another powerful way to redirect negative energy is by channeling it into something creative or purposeful. Creativity provides a powerful antidote to negativity, as it allows you to express yourself, explore new possibilities, and reconnect with your sense of agency. Whether it's writing in a journal, painting, or working on a project, creative expression invites you to step out of the cycle of negative thought and into a space where you have control over the outcome. Similarly, giving back to others through volunteer work or acts of kindness can create a profound shift in perspective. Helping others reminds you of your ability to make a positive difference in the world, and it can restore a sense of purpose and optimism. When we contribute to the well-being of others, we also reinforce our own sense of self-worth and empowerment. Creative endeavors, whether personal or altruistic, reconnect us to the idea that we are capable of growth and positive change. The key to overcoming negative thoughts is not to wait for them to disappear on their own. Left unchecked, they tend to persist, growing in power the more we feed into them. Instead, take deliberate steps to disrupt the cycle and redirect your focus and energy. Every small action you take, whether it's a physical movement, a grounding task, a moment of connection, or a creative pursuit, is a step toward breaking free from negativity. Over time, these small steps add up, creating momentum that propels you into a more positive, productive, and empowered mindset. Remember, breaking the cycle of negativity doesn't mean denying or ignoring it. It means choosing not to let it control you. You have the power to take action, and with each small step forward, you reclaim your peace of mind. Your thoughts may not always be within your control, but your response to them is. The more you choose to act with intention, the more you cultivate a sense of agency and optimism, transforming your relationship with negativity and reclaiming your inner calm. 6. Practice gratitude. Daily gratitude is one of the most powerful and transformative practices for cultivating a positive mindset and breaking the cycle of negative thoughts. In Buddhism, gratitude is not merely a passive feeling. It is a deliberate, mindful way of experiencing the world. It encourages us to shift our focus away from what we lack, what's wrong, or what's missing in our lives, and instead to turn our attention toward what we already have, the small blessings that surround us each day. This shift in perspective can be incredibly freeing, offering a new lens through which we can view our challenges, our relationships, and even ourselves. At its core, gratitude is a state of mindfulness. It asks us to be present, to really see the good in our lives, rather than rushing through each day with our minds consumed by what's next, or by lingering worries about the past. Whether it's something as monumental as achieving a life goal, or as simple as the warmth of the morning sun on your face, gratitude allows us to pause and appreciate the present moment. In a world that moves at a rapid pace, it can be easy to overlook the little things, the moments of peace, joy, and beauty that are always available to us. But gratitude invites us to slow down, to notice, and to savor these fleeting moments. One of the most effective ways to integrate gratitude into your life is through a gratitude journal. Each evening, set aside a few moments to reflect on your day and write down 3 to 5 things you are grateful for. These don't need to be big or extraordinary events. Gratitude thrives in the small, everyday moments. Perhaps you're grateful for a cup of tea that warmed you on a chilly afternoon, a kind word from a colleague, or the laughter of a friend. Gratitude can even be as simple as feeling thankful for a good night's sleep or the comfort of your home. What's important is the act of noticing, taking a moment to acknowledge the things, people, or experiences that have added goodness to your life. By making this a regular practice, you begin to retrain your mind to focus on the positive. Over time, you will find that your mind begins to automatically seek out what's going well in your life, rather than dwelling on what's not. You'll start to see patterns of positivity, those moments of peace, joy, or connection that may have once gone unnoticed. This is the power of gratitude. It shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, from lack to plenty. By focusing on what you already have, you naturally begin to cultivate a mindset of abundance and contentment, even in the face of difficulties. Beyond keeping a journal, gratitude can also be expressed outwardly through your interactions with others. One of the simplest yet most profound ways to practice gratitude is by acknowledging and thanking the people around you, whether it's a family member, a friend, a co-worker, or even a stranger. In Buddhist teachings, there is a deep emphasis on Sangha, the community of like-minded individuals who support one another on their spiritual journey. The act of expressing gratitude reinforces this sense of interconnectedness. When we thank someone for their kindness, we not only uplift them, but we also strengthen the bond between us. A sincere thank you can brighten someone's day, but it also serves to remind you that you are part of a greater whole, that you are supported, seen, and cared for. This practice can be especially powerful when you consider how often we take the people in our lives for granted. It's easy to overlook the support we receive daily, from the barista who makes our coffee to the friend who listens to us vent. By making it a habit to express gratitude to those around you, you deepen your connections and create a more supportive, loving environment. Gratitude nurtures relationships and cultivates mutual respect. It serves as a gentle reminder that we are all part of something larger than ourselves, and it encourages us to give back to those who contribute to our lives in ways both big and small. Another aspect of gratitude that is often overlooked is the need to express gratitude toward yourself. Many of us are our own harshest critics, constantly focusing on what we didn't achieve, where we fell short, or what we could have done better. But gratitude encourages us to shift that narrative, to acknowledge the effort we put forth, the growth we've experienced, and the progress we've made, even if it's not immediately apparent. For instance, did you handle a stressful situation with patience today? Did you make an effort to show kindness to yourself, even when things didn't go as planned? These moments deserve recognition. By practicing self-gratitude, we shift from self-judgment to self-compassion, a vital ingredient in mental and emotional well-being. It's important to celebrate your efforts even if the results aren't perfect. After all, growth is not a destination, it's a process. In times of difficulty or hardship, gratitude becomes even more important. During challenging moments, it can feel as though there's little to be grateful for, but it is precisely in these times that gratitude can help us regain our balance. Instead of focusing solely on the problems or challenges in front of us, gratitude encourages us to look for what is still good, what has been helpful, what we can appreciate. For example, if you're going through a tough period, you might find yourself grateful for the friend who listens to you or for the resilience you discover within yourself. Gratitude doesn't ignore the difficulty of your circumstances. Rather, it helps you find balance by reminding you that even in the darkest times, there are still small rays of light. Gratitude can also serve as a tool for breaking free from the grip of worry about the future or regrets about the past. Often, negative thoughts are rooted in our tendency to ruminate on what has happened or to fret over what is yet to come. But practicing gratitude in the present moment helps us center ourselves and bring our focus back to what's happening right now. One simple way to do this is by taking a mindful walk in nature. As you walk, take note of the small details, the rustling of the leaves, the chirping of the birds, the feel of the ground beneath your feet. These small, everyday experiences offer a rich source of gratitude if we are willing to notice them. Even simple acts, like savoring a warm meal or enjoying a deep breath of fresh air, can be sources of gratitude when we are fully present. These acts of mindfulness can help you break free from the cycle of worry and reconnect you to the beauty and joy that exists in the present. Over time, gratitude becomes more than just an occasional practice. It becomes a way of life. Research has shown that regularly practicing gratitude can actually rewire your brain, making it easier to notice and appreciate positive experiences. This shift in perspective doesn't just improve your mood in the moment, it can have lasting effects on your mental and physical health. Gratitude has been shown to reduce stress, increase resilience, and even improve sleep. The more you practice gratitude, the more you naturally begin to see the world through a lens of abundance and joy. To deepen your gratitude practice, consider incorporating it into your meditation or spiritual routine. Beginning or ending your meditation session with a moment of reflection on what you are grateful for can help anchor you in a state of appreciation. You might also choose to recite affirmations like, "I am grateful for the lessons life has taught me," or "I am thankful for the love and support in my life." These affirmations help align your energy with positivity, setting the tone for the rest of your day. By incorporating gratitude into your spiritual practices, you create a foundation for peace, contentment, and joy that can carry you through both the highs and lows of life. In conclusion, gratitude is far more than a practice. It is a way of seeing and being in the world. By regularly cultivating gratitude, you can transform your mindset from one of scarcity and lack to one of abundance and joy. Whether through journaling, expressing thanks to others, appreciating yourself, or finding light even in dark times, gratitude has the power to reshape your reality. The more you practice it, the more it becomes a natural part of your life. And just as with all Buddhist teachings, gratitude encourages us to be present, mindful, and compassionate, not only toward others, but also toward ourselves. It is a powerful tool for healing, for growth, and for creating a life that is grounded in appreciation and joy. 7. Trust the process. Trusting the process is a fundamental principle in Buddhism, and it offers a profound way to navigate the ups and downs of life with peace and confidence. It's about having faith in the journey of life, even when the destination is unclear or the path feels uncertain. Life, by its nature, is unpredictable. It brings moments of clarity and moments of confusion, times of success and times of failure. It's natural to feel frustrated, discouraged, or impatient when things don't unfold according to plan, but trusting the process asks us to let go of the need for immediate results and to embrace the idea that every experience, whether positive or negative, is an integral part of our personal growth and spiritual evolution. The wisdom of impermanence, understanding, change. One of the most important teachings in Buddhism is the concept of impermanence, anicca. This teaching reminds us that everything in life is constantly changing. Nothing, whether good or bad, lasts forever. In this way, all of life, our emotions, our thoughts, our experiences, is in a state of flux. This understanding helps us to trust the process because it encourages us to see that difficult situations, including negative thoughts and emotional struggles, are not permanent. They will pass. When we understand this deeply, we can begin to let go of the attachment to things staying the same or working out in a particular way. Trusting the process starts with accepting that impermanence is the nature of life. Instead of resisting the challenges you face or wishing for things to be different, you can choose to see each challenge as a temporary step on your journey. This allows you to accept life as it comes, understanding that there are lessons within both the struggles and the successes. The ability to trust that this too shall pass gives us the strength to move forward with a sense of peace, even when things are difficult. Letting go of control. A key element of trusting the process is letting go of control. We often try to force outcomes or cling to a rigid idea of how things should be. This attachment to a specific outcome can create unnecessary stress, frustration, and disappointment. We may find ourselves stuck, trying to control every detail of our lives in an attempt to avoid discomfort or to ensure things go according to plan. However, by practicing non-attachment, UPA, we learn to release the need to control every aspect of our lives and allow life to unfold naturally. Letting go of control does not mean being passive or indifferent. Rather, it is about doing our best and then allowing the rest to unfold as it is meant to. This practice of surrender invites us to trust that the universe, or the natural order of things, will take care of the rest. It is an act of faith, a belief that things will work out in the end, even if we cannot see the full picture in the moment. When we stop trying to force things, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and experiences that we might have otherwise missed. Acknowledging negative thoughts with trust. When negative thoughts arise, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed by them. However, trusting the process helps us view these negative thoughts with perspective. In Buddhism, there is a practice of observing thoughts without judgment. When negative thoughts come up, we can learn to simply acknowledge them without getting caught up in them. Rather than fighting against them or letting them define who we are, we can trust that these thoughts are fleeting and that they too will pass. Rather than trying to suppress or eliminate negative thoughts, we can simply allow them to exist for a moment, acknowledge their presence, and then let them go. By trusting the process, we know that negative thoughts are not permanent fixtures of our mind. They are like clouds in the sky, passing by and leaving space for clarity and peace. We also trust that by taking action, whether that's practicing mindfulness, engaging in self-compassion, or redirecting our energy into something constructive, we can diminish the hold that negative thoughts have on us. Patience, a necessary virtue. Growth takes time. This is a fundamental truth of the human experience. We often want instant results. We want to see change quickly, but trusting the process requires patience, both with ourselves and with life itself. We must be willing to embrace the reality that setbacks and obstacles are a natural part of the journey. Instead of expecting immediate progress or feeling discouraged by delays, we can cultivate patience and trust that everything unfolds in its own time. Life is not a race, and growth cannot be rushed. This is where self-compassion becomes key. Be patient with yourself. It's easy to get frustrated when you feel you haven't made as much progress as you would like, but growth happens incrementally, often in ways we cannot immediately see. Trust that with every step you take, no matter how small, you are moving in the right direction. Trust that each challenge you face is helping you to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Cultivating mindfulness in the present moment. A powerful way to reinforce the practice of trusting the process is by grounding ourselves in the present moment. Much of the anxiety we feel comes from worrying about the future or regretting the past. But when we bring our attention to the present moment, we realize that most of our worries are about things that either haven't happened yet or things that we cannot change. This moment, right here, right now, is all we truly have. Practicing mindfulness helps us to stay grounded in the present, and when we are fully engaged with the present moment, it becomes easier to trust the process. Mindfulness helps us to embrace life as it is, without trying to rush ahead or cling to the past. It encourages us to let go of our attachment to the outcomes and simply be present with whatever arises. When we focus on the here and now, we are better able to navigate challenges with clarity and ease, trusting that we are exactly where we need to be. Reflecting on the journey. Gratitude for the lessons. Another way to reinforce trust in the process is through reflection and gratitude. When we look back on our lives, we can often see how everything has unfolded for a reason, even if we didn't understand it at the time. There may have been moments of difficulty that, in hindsight, were catalysts for growth. Perhaps a challenging situation pushed us to develop new skills, or a failure led us to reconsider our priorities or approach. In those moments, we may not have understood why things were happening, but with time, the lessons become clear. When we reflect on past experiences, we can develop a deeper trust in the process of life. We begin to see that, even when things don't go as planned, there is a greater order at work. Trusting the process means having faith that life will continue to unfold in a way that is ultimately for your highest good, even if it doesn't always feel that way in the moment. It's about looking back with gratitude and recognizing the value of every experience, whether it was easy or difficult. The law of karma, trusting the seeds. New Plant Buddhism teaches us the importance of the law of karma, the understanding that the energy we put into the world, through our thoughts, actions, and intentions, will eventually return to us. This law encourages us to trust that our consistent efforts toward positive thinking, loving kindness, and mindful action will bear fruit, even if we don't see the results immediately. Trusting the process means trusting in this law of karma, knowing that every positive action we take, no matter how small, is planting seeds that will grow in time. It may take months or even years to see the fruits of our labor, but the universe is always in motion, and our good intentions and actions will eventually come back to us in ways we can't always predict. Patience and perseverance are key here. Trusting the process allows you to continue sowing seeds of positivity, even when the harvest is not yet in sight. Embracing uncertainty with grace. Finally, trusting the process is an act of courage. Life is inherently uncertain, and we will always encounter unknowns along the way. But when we let go of our fear of uncertainty, and choose to trust that life is unfolding in exactly the way it needs to, we begin to experience a deep sense of peace and resilience. Life may not always follow the path we expect, but it is filled with infinite possibilities, possibilities that are only available to us if we trust that the journey is as valuable as the destination. Trusting the process is not about resigning yourself to passivity. It's about facing each moment with an open heart, doing your best, and surrendering the outcome. It's about being patient, practicing mindfulness, and having faith in the wisdom of the journey. Each step, no matter how small, is part of your growth. Every challenge is leading you toward greater wisdom, clarity, and inner peace. Remember, life is a journey, not a race. Trusting the process is your compass, guiding you forward with faith, patience, and resilience. Trust that everything is unfolding as it should, and that you have the strength to navigate whatever comes your way. Life, with all its twists and turns, is exactly as it's meant to be. Trust the process and trust yourself. In our journey to overcome negativity and cultivate a positive mindset, these 7 Buddhist lessons offer a clear and powerful roadmap. Each of these practices helps us transform our thoughts, shift our perspective, and ultimately create a more peaceful, joyful life. But the most important thing to remember is this: positivity is not something that simply arrives on its own. It's something we must actively cultivate every single day. The first step, as we've discussed, is recognizing that our thoughts are just thoughts. They don't define us and they don't control us. Through mindfulness, we can observe our negative thoughts without judgment and create the space to respond with calm and clarity. This practice frees us from the grip of negativity, allowing us to choose how we engage with our inner dialogue. It's a powerful act of self-awareness and self-compassion. Reframing our mindset is the next step. It's easy to see challenges as obstacles, but with practice we can train our minds to see them as opportunities for growth. Reframing isn't about ignoring difficulties. It's about choosing to view them through a lens of possibility. By shifting our focus from what's wrong to what can be learned, we build resilience and open ourselves to greater personal growth. Each time you encounter a setback, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me stronger? Positive self-talk is another cornerstone of creating lasting change. The words we say to ourselves have a profound impact on how we feel and act. Instead of reinforcing feelings of inadequacy or fear, we can use affirmations to uplift ourselves and strengthen our sense of self-belief. By consistently replacing negative self-talk with kind, affirming messages, we rewire our brains to default to optimism and self-compassion. Even on difficult days, a simple affirmation like, "I am enough," or "I can handle this," can make a world of difference in shifting your mindset. Our environment, too, plays a crucial role in our mental and emotional well-being. Surrounding ourselves with positive influences, whether it's supportive people, uplifting content, or a space that nurtures our soul, can amplify our ability to stay positive. The energy around us directly affects our energy within, so be mindful of what you consume, whether it's the people you spend time with or the media you engage with. Make sure that your environment reflects the mindset you wish to cultivate. Taking action when negative thoughts arise is another powerful tool. Often, negative thoughts spiral when we remain passive. By consciously interrupting the cycle with small, deliberate actions, like going for a walk, calling a friend, or engaging in a hobby, we regain control of our energy and attention. Every small step forward helps to shift our momentum and reaffirms our ability to take charge of our own peace of mind. Gratitude, as we've seen, is an incredibly transformative practice. It shifts our focus from scarcity to abundance, from what's missing to what's already here. By incorporating gratitude into our daily lives, we train our minds to see the good, even in challenging times. Whether through journaling, expressing appreciation to others, or simply pausing to acknowledge the blessings around us, gratitude is a powerful way to cultivate positivity. Lastly, trusting the process helps us to embrace the unknown with confidence. Life doesn't always go as planned, and that's okay. Trusting that each moment, whether it's filled with joy or hardship, is a part of our journey allows us to face challenges with patience and resilience. We don't need to see the whole picture right away. By focusing on the present and surrendering to the flow of life, we can find peace in the process itself. These 7 lessons, when practiced daily, offer a profound way to reshape your mindset and transform your life. Positivity is not an external condition that happens to us. It's something we can nurture, moment by moment. By practicing mindfulness, reframing our challenges, speaking kindly to ourselves, curating our environment, taking action, expressing gratitude, and trusting the process, we create a foundation for a peaceful, joyful, and resilient mind. If this video resonated with you, I encourage you to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may need encouragement today. Together, let's spread light and positivity to those around us. You have the power to shape your mindset, and as you do, you inspire others to do the same. Let's walk this path together toward a brighter, calmer, and more joyful life.